Hello everyone. I would like to introduce you to one of our projects, the Regimented House, located in Tirur, the Malappuram district in Kerala. I'm architect Lijo of Lijo Reny Architects. We are a firm practicing out of Thrissur, Kerala. Please do note that you can download the full PDF ebook of this house with detailed floor plans, photos and fact file from Buildofy.com. The link is mentioned in the description box below. When the client approached us with the idea of this project, they also gave us a couple of pointers that we had to address that while designing. For one, what he said was the 1 acre plot dedicated to his project is adjacent to his brother's plot, which is also close to an acre, and he didn't want any compound wall to separate the two. He wanted the accessibility all throughout. The second point that he mentioned was that there's a pathway right to the center of the plot, giving access to the plots at the back, and he wanted the neighbors to continue using that path even after the construction of his own project. At the same time, as a third pointer, he also mentioned that he wanted total privacy to his residents even after construction. So these were all contradicting points which we had to address while designing. The regimented house sits in a plot of 1 acre. There were already many existing trees in the plot and we didn't want to cut down even a single tree. So the plan was worked out in such a way that we could retain almost all the trees. So you would see many courtyards within the house which has the existing trees in it. This residence of around 7,500 square feet has been designed in a grid pattern, and the strong lines of the grid has been continued into the landscape as well, because it would not be possible with the client's lifestyle to maintain a manicured landscape of almost 1 acre. So we worked out a pattern in which the grid could be continued into the landscape in the form of hard landscape, and certain pockets could be landscaped and certain pockets could be left wild with its natural growth. So that way the clients could choose to kind of landscape which pocket and maintain. This was worked out in such a way that this would suit the client's lifestyle. As one approaches the house through its huge front yard with its natural scape, it was necessary to have a transition area or a court before one is introduced to the more confined spaces of the house. That is how the idea of an entry courtyard came about. The layout of the house is simple and straightforward and uses a grid pattern. There are very distinct 2 blocks connected by a central courtyard which is partly open to sky and which is well ventilated. The first block has got the living room, dining, kitchen and the ancillary facilities, and that happens on the ground floor. And above these rooms in the first floor is the home theatre facility as well as the drawing yard. The second block is purely for private spaces, meaning the bedrooms, the 4 bedrooms and the toilet. Connecting these 2 blocks in the first floor is a bridge, like a skywalk. The layout of the rooms has been worked out in such a way that most of them has got ventilation from 2 sides. In a hot and humid weather like Kerala's, cross ventilation plays utmost importance to bring in comfort levels into habitable spaces, and that has been addressed here. So most of these rooms open up on one side to the internal lush greenery of the courtyard and to the exteriors through screens. The huge open to sky internal courtyard has been placed right in the center of the house. This was done to facilitate good ventilation to most of the rooms. The vegetation of this central courtyard has been designed in such a way that over a couple of years the landscape has to mimic a forest. So a forest within has been a concept right from the conception of this design. The regimented house sits right in the middle of a naturally vegetated green area. So only the internal courtyards and the terrace gardens of this house was also to mimic this kind of an aesthetics. The choices of plants were also dictated by this very concept. Most of the external windows to the regimented house has been screened and made secure with screens of cotton steel with CNC cut pattern or with GI pipes. The very concept of a screen came about to us when we were addressing the concept on privacy, which the client had initially asked us to do. This mainly was because there was a thoroughfare right to the setback of the house, and these screens invariably give a lot of privacy to the internal spaces. At the same time, it adds on a very unique aesthetic quality to the house, both internally and externally. In addition to all this, it also cuts the harsh sunlight, which is so much a prominent factor in these areas. So invariably it cools down the internal spaces as well. The interiors of this house was kept elementary. Intervention went to the extent of providing only the basic furniture necessary to meet the functions of the respective rooms, and avoided any kind of unnecessary clutter altogether. This was mainly done because in each of the rooms there was a strong visual of the screen on one side and the lush greenery of the courtyard on the other. And we didn't want to take away that experience from a user. Certain walls were given framed works of natural scape along with a combination of mirror. Depending on the viewer's position, reflection on the mirror would change from that of the screen, that is either cotton steel or GI pipes, to that of the lush greenery of the courtyard. This added on a surreal feel to the rooms which had these kind of works. Often simple, warm designs can create such memorable experiences. When we see our clients enjoying their house, we are often reminded that the effort that we took was well worth it.